Makers la mette in mezzo, bella tiro, gol! Luka Modric ha segnato Luka, ecco il gol del maestro.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan podcast. I'm your host Ollie Fisher, joined once again by Anthony, the innovational Torgrud.
Yeah, I haven't innovated anything. That's it. But
you've innovated us with your presence. Kind of.
Oh, okay. That works.
Okay.
That works. Yeah. I was like, what gift have I bought you? Yeah, no, that works. Yeah, and then we have Kanye's biggest fan, Bdair.
That's such a weird one to go with that.
Well, it's Flashing Lights. It's a good song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I realized I might actually be the biggest fan.
Sorry, that was a bit too advanced.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm okay. Yes, sorry about the light bulb. Anybody who has epilepsy, I apologize, and you can sue me for this.
Yeah, listen and don't watch this one.
We actually don't.
No, no, don't do that.
Actually, you can sue the SempreMilan podcast, Ollie and AJ. You can sue them both by name.
We are separated legally.
Yep.
Yeah, don't do that, please. Anyway, we have got an international break episode. Obviously, we are between two rounds of Serie A action because it's the final set of national team fixtures of the 2025-26 season. It's the final games before the World Cup. There's some qualifiers going on. There's some friendlies for those who have already booked their place in the tournament this summer. We're going to go through how some of our players have been doing on national team duty. But as we record this on Tuesday, the final day of March has flown by, man. There's some more games to be played, basically. So a lot of the players have only done one of their two commitments. So fingers crossed that we're not going to be adding to the injury list here. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to preview the Napoli game as well, and we're going to answer some questions. So still plenty coming, even though we don't have a game to recap. I will plug the Substack, which is our bonus content platform. The link is in the description. It's a $5 for the month, $50 for the year. You can try 7 days for free. Over there, you can find content such as the most recent pub chat that Stefano and Lorenzo recorded, which was about how Serie A has a real problem with star quality at the moment. And they talk a little bit about, from a tactical point of view, how you have many managers that are favouring the system over letting individuals shine. And they kind of go through some of the squads of the top teams and pick out players that they deemed to be either, close to the world-class tier or a bit below in the very good category. And it makes for damning listening / watching, basically, in terms of how far Serie A has fallen off and how few faces of the league there are compared to previous golden eras, shall we say. Our bonus podcast that me and you did, AJ, late last week was along a similar theme, but it was more about the reasons behind the fall of the league. So we spoke about everything from TV rights to a lack of investment in youth and infrastructure to the issues with building stadiums to Italian talent not coming through, so you lose that sense of belonging there. The growth decree, whether it helps and hinders. Falling behind on various metrics compared to certainly the Premier League and even La Liga in various categories too. So, yeah, it's been a good week for Italian football over on the SempreMilan Substack, just ripping it a new ass. Isaac did a fantastic bonus article that I would urge everybody to go and read. He mentions a GTA meme in the intro.
Which is crazy work.
Yeah, no,
I got the
should
Substack
be
notification. I was like, what?
Yeah, Isaac's gone rogue. Yeah. So, of course, there's been a lot of links with strikers already because we know we need a new centre forward in the summer transfer window, but he gets more into the practical side in terms of what the budget might be for that particular position and what that means in terms of narrowing down some of the names that we have been linked with. It's a great read. I would recommend everybody go and read that before making judgment on, as I say, some of the targets that have been mentioned in the media. You got a newsletter there too, which recaps a couple of the major topics through the week. This one focuses on international break and how much travel there is. We'll come on to that a little bit too. There's a bulletin in there that recaps the results of women's team youth levels and stuff, and a bit of a roundup of other stuff in there as well. So yeah, go check that out. Try a week for free and send you suggestions for stuff you'd like us to cover over on the Substack because there's a very, very interesting period coming up in the build-up to the summer window. Okay, so let's first of all... did the wrong thing, didn't I? Yeah, that's
Sure
my
did.
bad.
All good.
Let's first of all talk a little bit about how our internationals are getting on, because as I said, it's still ongoing a little bit. I'll display this graphic just as a nice visual aid. This is from Milan Press. Shout out those guys for making this. And I basically just have a list of notable stuff that happened. I'm going to start with my boy Fick Bukayo Tomori because I was there, so I followed him firsthand. He made his first start for England since November 2023. Now, there are some circumstances that surround this and make it perhaps not as genuine, dare I say. I mean, he started, he gets the cap, but there's been a swathe of injuries in the England team, and Thomas Tuchel has said that he won't play certain players that have played a lot of minutes for their club sides, and also he wants to look at the backups, the reserves, and the players that are fighting for a spot in the final squad for the World Cup, which gave rise to the lineup seen against Uruguay at Wembley in the 1-1 draw on Friday night, and it wasn't the best. Let's put it that way. It was, as I say, it was a bit more of an experimental team. But Tomori started on the left of a. Wait, did he start on there? He started on the right side of a back four, with Maguire on the left. It was a centre-back pairing of those two. And he got subbed off in the second half. Generally speaking, it was, as I say, it was England's C against Uruguay B. It wasn't a particularly compelling watch, but Tomori did pretty well. He completed over 90% of his passes. They were safe. I'll be totally honest. Maguire was the one who was trusted more with breaking the lines with passes and kind of stepping out of the defence, as is probably to be expected. He's got far more international experience. And he made a couple of good interventions inside the box, did Tomori, to clear some danger. But to be honest, there weren't too many questions asked of him. I would give it a 6 out of 10. That's my rating for the game. But good to see him kind of back in the fold. He didn't do his chances any harm, in my opinion, because we've seen it with England before under Southgate, where either he's been playing for us, as in Milan, against a team in the Champions League, and he's tried too hard, and he's made a complete cock of himself while Southgate's been watching. Or he's played for England, like in those games back in 2023, and again, probably tried too hard and just not looked the best, or he's been played out of position in certain games. He's played at full-back for England. So yeah, good for him to get back in the team. And good news further, he's been released by England, because I think Tuchel has said, I've had a look at you, so off you go. So he will return early to Milanello. It's not an injury or anything like that. He's just let go about 9 players.
But he is suspended for Napoli, so.
Is his audio messing up just for me?
Yeah, no, Mike's fucked.
Is it?
Yeah, your audio is a bit messed up.
Apologies.
Yeah, no, all good. I didn't watch a single international game, so I don't know. Yeah, that's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this game, but like all I said, there wasn't much to it from a Tomori standpoint. Uruguay. I mean, I don't even think this was Uruguay B. Looking at their squad, I was like, this is pretty close to what they have, which is shocking because it was really bad. But yeah, he didn't have much to do, and he didn't do a lot, which is fine. I mean, but I really, really doubt that he'll make an actual squad. He'll make the squad for the World Cup.
No, I don't think so either. He just, unfortunately, isn't suited to international football, or I don't think so anyway, because we know how it's played in these major tournaments. As much as teams might like to have a certain style, that it is ultimately low event, often low block v low block, because you want to minimize the chance of making a mistake on the biggest stage, and that's not particularly conducive to the way that Tomori wants to play, or what Tomori's strengths are, rather. I think we've seen it a little bit under Allegri at times this season. You know, Tomori's played his best football for us under Pioli when the high press was at its most effective, because he's very good at that aggression, pushing up the line and having the recovery pace. Whereas when he's asked to play a bit deeper, I think some of his positioning errors come out a little bit more. And, he's not amazing on the ball. He makes some errors playing out. But I agree, Bdair. I don't think he's going to be called up. The only chance is if I think, Stones doesn't come back, Reece James keeps being injury prone. I still think on quality should be in over Dan Burn, but I can also kind of understand why Dan Burn is getting picked, as annoying as that is. He's just far more suited to the rigors of international football against.
He's also left-footed. Dan Burns,
helps.
to all his, he looks like he's this like big lumbering, like terrible on the ball center back for all like if you kind of just watch him for the first time. But I mean, he's pretty good on the ball. He really is really good on the ball. Like he played a lot of left back for Newcastle over the years and all these things. I think he's a great international, but he's also like 6'6" or something. You just put that dude in the box on corners and stuff and just get him the ball. A lot of people got very. I saw the Tomori clip, or a clip of our discussion about Tomori posted on one of the social media stuff. A lot of people got very defensive about him, like, "Oh, how can he not have a role in the team if he's starting every week?" It's like, well, we're talking about next season, when projectedly we're hoping to be better than we are now. I mean, yeah, he has a role now when we all agree throughout the season the center backs have been pretty awful. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like people will just, if you criticize any player at this point, people will just immediately, somebody will just show up to defend. I don't understand why.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You criticize a player, we get attacked. If you say the team's doing pretty well, then we're not hard enough on the ownership. So those are our options.
I mean, we've been told in article after article about Pulisic that we have an anti-Pulisic agenda because we just report facts that he. Oh, you keep mentioning that he hasn't scored in 2026. Well, what about all this in 2025? It's like, it doesn't make it not a fact. Like that is still, something to say.
Well, he's definitely scoring now, but I won't elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean,
All right, man.
let's move on. I've got Pavlovic. He started for Serbia against Spain, but it was a rough night for Spain. I don't know how he played, but I gather that, in general, it was a bit of a training exercise for Spain. They won pretty comfortably there. I think he came off in the second half, and he'd probably be expected to play there. They didn't qualify for the World Cup, which completely bypassed me. I didn't know that Serbia weren't there because it feels like they're at every single major tournament, but they're in a bit of limbo at the moment, I think. So be interesting to see what happens there in terms of maybe coach turnover, what have you, and what that means for Pavlovic's role. But obviously he's having a great season at club level, so it shouldn't be in too much doubt. Then we come to Pooley and talk a little bit about him. He started for the USA against Belgium. He started well for the USA. They went 1-0 up. And they were 5-1 down as of the second half. Belgium ran away with it. From what I gather, didn't see the game, but Pulisic had one chance from around about the penalty spot and kind of whiffed at it. He came out after the game and said something like, "I know I'm not in particularly great form, but I'm not panicking. I know that one's going to just hit my knee and go in, and then I'll forget all about it." I think that's generally
TikTok,
an
buddy.
okay.
TikTok, we don't got all year, dude.
Yeah. I think. Do you know, it's weird because, as I said, he hasn't scored in 2026, and I think most people would agree that since he joined us, this is his most difficult patch of form. However, I'm not really worried either. It's like it's in there somewhere, and it's just a case of getting it back out. And hopefully, even though that game didn't go well, he didn't score. He's lost the captain's armband as well, which I didn't clock until I was writing something this morning. Tim Ream is now the captain.
Okay, yeah, I mean, he's the oldest guy, so.
He's 38, and apparently he had an absolute stinker against Belgium.
Shocker. He's 38,
yeah.
so.
Yeah. I'm not sure that's going to wash particularly well in the World Cup, but we'll see. Salamaca's got an assist for one of the goals. I think it was for Onana, an Onana goal. It was 5-2 full-time. Divinta came off the bench for a little bit. I think he played the last 30 minutes or so and did okay, but Salamaca's got praise from a few of the different player ratings, so that was good. Pulisic, ESPN gave a 3 out of 10 to.
3 out of 10?
Harsh, yeah.
That's
a
crazy score. I didn't watch.
So someone commented on that and said, "You have no idea how ESPN's player ratings work. It's an out of 10 scale." So I think I've got some idea how an out of 10 scale works. But they said basically every player starts on a 5, and they'll get like in Italy they start on a 6.
That means it's exactly how we know exactly how it works. 5 being the average, then he was below average.
Yeah. Well, no, I get what you're saying. That's how it should work, right? But in Italy, all the papers do 6 as a passing grade. So I think to go from a 6 to a 3, like you don't see many 3s in the Italian papers. Whereas perhaps in the American media, to go from a 5 to a 3, they just see it as like he didn't really do much. And I get it. Maybe it's not as extreme as.
Then the Italian papers are really stupid.
They are, because it's a 10-point scale, but they use decimals, so it's really a 100-point scale. So
Wow,
it's like,
good point.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
like
it's
5 out of 10 is average. That's what we
Yes.
when somebody sees 5 out of 10, you should think that's fine. Cool. It's normal.
But 5 is a flop. Like, there's been games this season where we've lost,
Yeah.
like Parma recently, and we all thought the team were just really bad, and
Right,
the
and the
lowest
lowest
scores
would
they
be
were
5.
giving out was a 5. It's
But,
like,
that's
they were
what I'm
bang
saying.
down the middle.
They've conditioned that very badly because it's like
Yeah.
10 should be. This is one of the greatest games that has ever been played.
right.
Like L'Equipe does that, right? L'Equipe, I think
Yes.
they do a score out of 5, and they basically only give 5 if you did something that will be memorable for the next 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And it's like that's what out of 10 should be. If I get 10, I should be telling my grandchildren that I watched this 20 years later.
Yeah, like Mbappe World Cup final.
Exactly. Like
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. And
Leao
but
Napoli
instead-
away 2020.
Oh, okay.
That unironically, yes. By the way, you don't.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit my kids
Salamanca's
down. And
away,
they're gonna have to watch the tape. Okay, like so. There's right here. Do you see how he dribbled past Ndombele, right? Like right here, and then he did Di Lorenzo, and it's like he wasn't even there. I'm gonna be watching it, making them watch those games.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Who do USA play next? They got another friendly, haven't
Portugal.
they?
Oh yeah, we talked about that right before we
Portugal.
started recording. Yeah.
One of the Portuguese players, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, they don't have. He was talking about they don't have pressure here. It doesn't feel like they live and breathe football. And
Yeah,
I was
we
like,
don't.
Oh, about the USA.
I was saying,
Spot on, buddy. Good job. You figured it out.
I was saying incredible insight from the saying the most obvious thing ever. But
like when the USA played, it was also the same as the MLB opening weekend. So, baseball, America's pastime takes precedence.
One of the biggest issues for the U.S. national team is like every game's an away game. It doesn't matter what American city they're in.
yeah,
Like
That's
the
true.
people who show up are the diehard U.S. men's national team fans, which I'm going to get hate because we got a lot of them in the comments, but they're a bit weird. And then a bunch of people who support the other nation that we're playing. And I mean, it's weird.
Yeah.
Or you get people who just
comment
like
section.
the sport but don't actually support any of the Americans or whatever South American team we're playing that week. Obviously, we didn't play any this time around, but that's typically what it is.
It's why they always play their games in like Columbus, Ohio, or Minnesota, or stuff like that, where they can kind of
Try to get a few more.
try to get.
And they don't show up
of it.
because they'd rather go watch college basketball, which, to be fair, it's been a great March Madness, so I don't blame them. I watch more basketball this week than football, and I don't watch basketball ever, so that's crazy.
Yeah, it is one of those things where it's like the U.S. men's national team is simultaneously doesn't have a lot of pressure, but is also judged by standards that are entirely too high for them. Like, when the World Cup does show up, and when U.S. men's national team does become like something that becomes conversational between people will immediately be like, yeah, well, they kind of suck. They don't win the World Cup, right? And it's like, to be fair, like if you do look at the U.S. men's national team, like they qualify for the knockouts very regularly, right?
Yeah.
They've it's not amazing, it's not groundbreaking, but they're not like the worst version of what they could be, right? But they are. But when people do remember them in America, when they finally get around to remembering them, they're like, oh, but they don't win. Because that seems to be that's like the only sporting expectation for America is like they have to win this thing.
Well,
but they're never going to win.
They're just so used to having a trophy to play for that's got world in the title that they don't win. You can be the world champions of what is it? The World Series. World Series in baseball. They're not even the world champions.
There's nothing worse than the fact that I can't. There's nothing worse than the fact that I can't argue anything about sports without a British, not you, but a general British person being like, "Oh, that's because you guys have world champions for everything." It's like it's not me. It's not me. I'm not sitting there stitching the banner. Okay, like it was
Toronto. Toronto have a couple of teams, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like it's not me. Okay, I'm not the one who is.
Yeah. All right, moving
FIFA
on.
does have the U.S. ranked at 15, which I think is pretty high, to be honest.
15.
It's
not
not even the highest.
Italy, they have Italy at 12, and they haven't made a fucking World Cup 3. The rankings are terrible. The rankings.
Yeah, that is crazy. But I would back Italy to win that match. So.
No, so would I. But again, it's kind of like.
Well,
I don't know
who's below the USA. Name the teams up to 20th, for example.
Okay,
Let's see.
Mexico in 16. LOL.
Yeah, they
Uruguay,
That's too high. That's too high. Uruguay's too high.
Switzerland, Japan, and Iran in 20th. Iran's above Denmark.
Iran USA would be a good knockout.
You know
game
what it is?
in the World
Of
Cup.
that group, Japan's the best one.
Canada's
Japan
in
is
29th.
solid.
Japan.
Switzerland are always good in
really
tournaments.
Norway's
as well.
32. Going back to your point about them not being a juggernaut, but
Yeah.
Italy pretending they are. That's funny. Wow.
Yeah, I mean Norway just
Sweden 42.
Switzerland dicked Italy in the last Euros.
Yeah,
and knocked them out. You know,
Yeah.
so
The thing with these is just like we are. I feel like every football fan will kind of like the international tournament performances will resonate to us so much higher, but the international rankings care about everything. They care about friendlies.
Yeah.
They care about the random qualifier against the terrible team. Like all that stuff gets you a bunch of points.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's why like
should be weighted, really, shouldn't it? But
it is weighted to a certain extent, but that's also why Italy can be so high. Because if you play the average European team, even the ones that are below average, are so much higher than ranked, so much higher than everybody, all the other continents. So it's like
true.
Japan could win 50 Asian qualifiers in a row and then do well at the World Cup. Italy can do decent in their qualifiers and miss the World Cup, and still they'll be higher than Japan.
Yeah, by quite a lot of places.
Yeah, whereas we'll be like, well, Japan made it to the knockout rounds. They only lost to Croatia on penalties. Like, we'll have in our mind that'll resonate, but it won't. You know what I'm saying? Like, it won't. Translate to the qualifiers as much.
So this is kind of funny. Apparently, the U.S. Virgin Islands has their own national team, and so does the British Virgin Islands, and they are tied for 207th.
They need a friendly to for custody of the other
and
islands.
They're tied on 777 points, for however that works.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is. Is it just a load of people who run the Coast Guard or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know. And shockingly, they're not bottom. Like San Marino's bottom, which I think everyone knew. But then Anguilla is above San Marino, but below the British Island or the Virgin Islands.
I bet Anguilla. I mean, I know San Marino is, what is it, like 0.1 square? It's tiny, isn't it? It's absolutely tiny. But anyway. Right, moving on. So we've got Rabiot and Maignan both started for France in a win over Brazil. Rabiot was praised by the French media. They said that he did well. Again, I didn't see it. There's a theme coming here. Maignan also did all right. So that's good news. They're playing again against Colombia, but Rabiot will not be a part of that because Deschamps announced that he sustained a knock to the knee in training, and he will miss out as a precaution. The last time Deschamps described a Rabiot injury as a precaution, he missed a month. So let's hope that he comes back and is fine. But all of the sources are saying it genuinely is fine and it's just a bruise or whatever, and he just won't be risked. So that would be good news because we need him at 100% for Easter Monday.
He's going to miss the Napoli game.
100%. Yeah, I'm already accepted that he's out for the season.
Why
Modric played. Sorry,
no. He's going to play.
Our fault. He's hurt. Okay.
Well, how did it happen in training? You know, once again, I'm like, then again,
how did Jashari break his leg in training?
Yeah,
seen some of the Uruguay tackles on Friday night.
The Argentinian striker as well, the one for Strasbourg, he tore his ACL.
Oh, Panicelli, yeah. He's done for a while. Some of the headlines were like Milan's striker shortlist is, one name less, and it's like, well, it's harsh that, Anyway,
I've never heard
Modric
this name.
played 10 minutes against Colombia, which is good, gets a bit of a rest. But the bad news is that Croatia play Brazil. I think it's overnight tonight or tomorrow. I'm a bit confused by the dates. He's going to start that because obviously it's Modric v Ancelotti. However you want to frame it, he will play that game. But even if he comes off in the second half or whatever, that's probably a bit of an escape there. We got Jashari, who played for a half against Germany in a 4-3. Really good game, that looked like. I think he did okay. Don't have much to report there. Atakame played for Switzerland 21s. Batazagi did well. Got a couple of assists for Italy under 21s against North Macedonia. One of them was a beauty. He beat a man down the outside, putting a lovely cross for a header from Undua. So that was good. Odogu played for Germany against Czechia under 20s, and I gather that he did well. Seen a few people praising his performance and a few comps going around. Komoto, who's out on loan, scored for Italy under 19s, and it was a lovely finish at the far post, so everybody's getting hyped about him again. And Estupinian, I don't even know, actually. I don't know. I haven't got anything down for him. Let's have a quick look on Fotman.
They drew 1-1 with Morocco.
He played for 18 minutes off the bench and doesn't look like he did much. So, yeah, that's the internationals. Fingers crossed in the second batch of games that's coming up. None of them sustain any injuries. And then they're all back from Thursday, which is good because you get, 3-4 days on the training ground ahead of the game on Monday. That's one of the benefits of playing on Monday. Speaking of which, I've done it again. Let's talk about that game on Monday against Napoli. Biggest game of the season so far. No two ways about it. It's the fight for who will be the ones to fight into in the Scudetto race, I think, barring everybody draws this weekend. That's probably the one outcome where it's like nothing
that helps no one.
But
yeah,
it doesn't help anyone, but it probably just shifts the debate. It
probably helps Inter, if anything.
Yeah,
because it just becomes one less game.
Roma at home on Sunday night.
You kind of need to. One of us needs to win because it feels like if we draw and Inter draw, it's just like one week away. Yeah, another missed chance and another game another difficult Inter game where they slipped up and nobody closed the gap.
Yeah, the runway is getting shorter, isn't it? And I was doing I did a feature for the website, whatever you want to call it, where I looked into the remaining fixtures that all of the teams have. And, we've discussed it with the Gazzetta graphic and stuff like that. Added together, basically, the average positions of all the teams that each of the contenders are still to face and divided them to get, the average position. And obviously, a higher number is better in this case because it means they're lower in the table. Inter will face teams with an average league position of 9.75. The danger games for them are obviously Roma and Como coming up in the next two rounds, but Cagliari still in a relegation battle, Torino still in a relegation battle, Lazio, and I've put possibly Bologna because those two are potentially going to be competing for Europe, but Bologna away last game. We'd have to wait and see on that. Ours obviously wearing second for the time being, so I guess the main contenders for now. Our remaining teams have an average position of 10.375, so it's a little bit better, a little bit easier than Inter, again, on paper, and games are not played on paper. The ones that stand out are obviously Juve and Atalanta back-to-back at home after this Napoli game, which is the biggest one by far. And then we got Cagliari, which, they may still be in relegation bother and scrapping for points. Napoli, funnily enough, have the exact same, 10.375, so... we have an identical difficulty with Napoli in terms of remaining fixtures. Ones that stick out for them are Cremonese, relegation battle. That should still be pretty routine for them, obviously after this game against us. You've got Lazio, Como, and again, potentially Bologna if they were to mount a bit of a surge towards the end of the season. So, that's where we're at heading into this. A lot hinges on the game on Monday. I'll start here with the predicted lineups as of, 6 days before. So you can maybe take it with a little pinch of salt, but this is what Gazzetta have. Worth noting that for us, Leao is still a bit of a doubt with the adductor problem that forced him to miss the game against Torino. He flew off to have a specialist consultation and then went to Portugal to work with a personal trainer, and he's due back when the team reconvene at Milanello on Wednesday. If he trains with the rest of the team, at any point in the build-up, he will obviously slot straight in. But until we know that that's going to happen, it's probably best to presume that he's not fit enough to start, which would obviously be a big blow because, Leao and Napoli, it seems to be a match made in heaven for him. He's had some very memorable performances against them. And even at the Maradona, when it's been a backs against the wall job, he's really come up clutch for us there. Rest of the team does kind of pick itself. Tomori's not suspended. I don't know where you got that from.
Fatmom says he is. He's got 5 yellow cards.
I haven't seen that anywhere. I'm not going to lie.
Oh well.
I don't. Is it not that he's already served his suspension? I don't know.
It is 5 to get a suspension, correct?
Yeah, but did he get his 5th in the last round?
Yeah, he did against Torino.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm confused about. So let me go back to.
Gazzetta have him as available. Let me just check Sky.
So he got a yellow card
I remember hearing
in
anything
September
about-
against Bologna, and then another against Fiorentina in October, and then Lazio in November, Napoli in December. That's the Super Cup. That's why.
There you go. Yeah.
So not that one, but Genoa in January, and then
We've
Torino.
got. He says here that we've got 4 players we've got non-suspended. The unavailable players are Gabbia, who is not expected to be back. He's continuing work on his own. And then you've got 2 doubts, Leao and Loftus-Cheek, but Loftus-Cheek is meant to be fine, and he will play with a mask on, which is fantastic. Can't wait to see that. And then we've got 4 players. Play him up front. You honestly play him up front with Pulisic over and
Hey, man, nobody cared who he was until he put on the mask.
Okay.
4 players are 1 yellow card from a suspension. Modric, Fofana, Atakame, and Salamanca, according to this. So those have got to watch themselves. But yeah, that's the team. 3-5-2.
They should all get them today. This game. Nobody is allowed to be suspended for Juve or Atalanta. Just get suspended now. And
That's
get it over with.
But yeah, that's interesting. So FOTMOB has Tomori suspended, Rabiot doubtful, Leao doubtful, Gabbia out, and Loftus-Cheek out, which is weird. So I don't know. They're probably wrong. I mean, if no one else is saying it, but they also don't have Lukaku listed as injured at all. So there's that.
Well, I'm going to come on to Napoli. Have we got any? First of all, before we move on to Napoli, have we got any problems with that team? Do you think it's just it is what it is? You got problems?
I've got a lot of problems with it, but it is what it is. There's nothing we could do about it. It's March, but yeah,
I
don't ever want to
see the question at first.
No, I understood the question. Just, what are we going to do?
You understood it perfectly. Yeah, he gave a perfectly clear answer. That's where we're at, though, isn't it? I mean, I'm glad in a way that the temptation to start Füllkrug again has kind of dissipated, because I'm not necessarily sure that this is a game for him. I think I'm interested to see never a game for him. I'm interested to see what our approach is for this, because obviously it's 2 teams that really need to win to prove that they are Inter's main challengers. But at the same time, it's 2 teams that have prided themselves on, certainly us, prided ourselves on our transition play and being tough to beat at the back. So how does that happen when you get this sort of meshing of styles? And you know, I never expect this to be a wide open game. You know, the last time that it was a surprisingly open game, we won 4-0, and that was when we all ran riot at the Maradona. And since then, it's been very, very tight, 1 goal either way, and I expect that again.
I think there will be a lot of goals in this one, just because both teams know they have to go for it. But
does that mean that they
4-0? Probably not. Maybe a 3-2.
Do they abandon the formula of what has got them wins to this point? You know, I'm not sure.
I don't know either. I'm not sure, but I did see a lot of people saying this was going to be Santi's redemption game and posting pictures to him as a penalty. And I was like, when did he do that? He didn't even play the first one. Well, it was last season in London when I was with you. The game wasn't in London, but when I was in London. And that's the most important thing he did last season, was miss that penalty so Napoli could win, because they won this game by 1 point.
Yes.
So there's no redemption needed.
I have no recollection of what you're talking about. Honestly,
I had to look it up. I didn't either.
Why did we celebrate when the late goal went in to make it 2-1?
We didn't. We were all nervous. We're all fuck.
That's when there was like the club did. There was some like banging on the table, like, let's get this, like, get what, a 2-2 draw and just ruin everything. That was quite a funny one to watch. Napoli expected to go with a 3-4-2-1. Milinkovic-Savic in goal. Back 3 of Boykema, Bongiorno, and Oliveira, interesting one. Politano and Gutierrez as the wing backs, Lobotka and Gilmore as the midfielders behind McTominay, De Bruyne, and Højlund. Lukaku, as has kind of been alluded to already, there's a bit of uncertainty surrounding him, because once again the big man has found himself in the middle of a tug of war. God knows what's happened, but basically Napoli have tried to recall him early, and he said fuck off. And then he's now given an interview this morning where he's like, no, I would never disobey Napoli. It's just that I'm staying here for treatment or whatever. It's all a bit dodgy to me. I think there's already reports of a falling out and that he's going to be left out of the squad entirely. And if I know Antonio Conte, he will be entirely rational in his response to this particular issue. So there may be no Lukaku Can you text his agent again, AJ, just to see if there's anything going on?
I'll ask. I'll see what he says. Yeah, I saw
It's
De
time.
Bruyne gave some weird comments about like, yeah, I did my whole rehab in Belgium, and Romelu's mixing his time in Napoli and Antwerp, and he's like, I don't know why he did that, or something along those lines. You know, basically saying, why would you stay in Napoli for this? Like, they're not going to get better. But then De Bruyne was out for 8 months, so maybe it would be better than Belgium. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah,
It's so interesting though, because the fans of Napoli are so rabid for this team. The players, when they're playing, like they live that life. But then all the stars immediately leave and talk shit. Like Kvara could not help himself to get out of there. Osimhen wanted out as soon as he won a title. Like, who else?
It's so
Higuain
funny.
left for big rivals. Cavani left for big money. Like everyone who matters at Napoli gets the fuck out of there really quick. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's very
well.
odd.
Their fans love it too. If you talk about it to one of their fans love being like when they do the Kvara versus Leao thing. They're like, well, Leao's never gonna win the Champions League. It's like, yeah, because he wants to play for the team that I support.
Yeah,
and the team that when that guy played for the team that you support, he couldn't wait to bowl.
Yeah.
That's why
he was never winning the
lost.
Champions League there either. Yeah,
right.
And also, when he played for Napoli, Kvara lost to Leao.
Exactly, and he was dying to get, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Right, but apparently, I should feel sad that Leao isn't going to win the Champions League because he wants to play for my team. I should want him to leave.
Even the managers, I'm forgetting his name again. The one who took over from Rudy Garcia.
Oh, Mazzari.
Yeah. He was like, as soon as I arrived, it was a mess. All the players wanted out. Kvara was ready to go. Osimhen was leaving. Like, they were at odds, and like, oof.
It's so funny that like I always think of that. Oh, I might catch some heat for this, but I always think of Napoli as like the Liverpool of Serie A because they profess this image. The fans do of being like, it's bigger here. You just wouldn't get it. You know, to be Napoli is to be something you wouldn't understand. None of the players fucking understand it either. They've all got their bags packed.
The players don't get it either.
Well, and it's interesting because to an extent, I believe it. Like, you see the transformation of the guys who do show up, like McTominay.
Look at McTominay, man. He's glowing.
Like, visual transformation. It's like, oh, I get it. I'd want to live there too.
Yeah.
Then 2 seasons go by, and he's like, I can't fucking stand these people. Like,
no, I do think McTominay is the one where he's like, I think because he's seen the other side,
he'll be there forever.
Yeah, I think he appreciates it on a different level than Kvara was. Like, he was a baby when he joined Napoli. Never had like the top tier attention and success. So he was like chasing that. That's understandable. But I think McTominay, having been at like a much bigger club with much more expectations and much more media, and it was kind of like stressful. And then he comes to Napoli, and it's more low key, but he's balling out, and he's like a hero there. I think he'll appreciate it a million times more.
Exact same thing with Højlund, just a slightly lesser extent.
Yeah.
And I think also you just spent however many years in Manchester, like one of the gloomiest cities on the planet. And then now you're basically Amalfi Coast every day. Like, come on.
Did you hear what Bernardo Silva said about Manchester?
No, what did he say?
It's like, I don't want to leave Manchester City, but I also don't want to live in Manchester my entire life. He literally said the words, if Manchester City was in Lisbon, I wouldn't leave for 40 years.
I think it's his wife that's been kicking off a lot about it as well, about like the quality of life, and it just constantly raining.
It's the funniest thing that Liverpool, United, and City, the wives always are like, fuck this. You gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
They all live in,
at least in
Cheshire,
London, there's like
really
nice parts
stuff to do.
Yeah.
London. I mean, how many?
It's a marginally better climate.
How many signings have been stolen from those 3 clubs because of the London thing?
Yeah. I mean, I even here on a much smaller extent, like I'm looking at all these new MLS clubs, I don't think any new ones popping up this month or season, but like anytime a new one does pop up, it's always in like a really desirable place, and they get like a huge big name. Like I was reminiscing about Kaká over the weekend, and when Orlando City became a club, he was their first signing, and then obviously Messi in Miami. Like,
Inter Miami was the one where it's like, well, that seems a bit unfair.
Yeah, but then I'm
You get
thinking,
to
yeah.
be Miami and you get Messi.
when is
Yeah.
DC going to get another big name player? They had Benteke forever. Then I'm like, how do you
Ruined
convince
Lewis
someone to
O'Brien?
come live
Is he
here?
not big
Like,
enough?
yeah. No,
I
no
did
one's
see though
coming
that
here.
like two of the expansion teams were like Minnesota United and
Minnesota's
is
been
one of
around
them
for a minute now.
Oh, have they? And one of
Yeah.
them's
No,
like
it's
Charlotte. Why
Yeah,
do they have a team?
Charlotte's a
Charlotte
big,
are
big
relative.
soccer place. They're good.
Okay.
Charlotte is a huge market because they play in an 80,000 seater stadium and
Yeah.
they pretty routinely fill it up.
Yeah.
Whoa. Is that because they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have anything? Oh, they got. Is that where the Panthers play?
They don't do anything.
It is where the Panthers play, but it's just
Uh,
they I don't know. I didn't realize
Hmm.
I was like you. I didn't realize Charlotte had like that big of a football culture, but they do. They show up a
What
lot.
about Sporting Kansas City? I'm guessing they're big.
Kansas City's huge for
Yeah,
soccer. Yeah.
Kansas City is a good
I
one as well.
don't understand why. But it is.
Another place where the U.S. men's national team plays.
Yeah.
Because again, easier to get like more of a home
They go
field
to those
advantage.
places. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen,
Ohio and Kansas are big U.S. men's national team hubs.
Yeah.
Soccer hotbeds. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Sacramento are trying to get in the MLS again because they're building a new stadium, and the Sacramento owner owns Huddersfield, and I noticed that they got Manica. They got Manica to do the stadium, and it looks really good. So that's good for our new stadium if it ever happens. But the City Council Hall got raided this morning over bid rigging allegations. So that's good news on the stadium front. We'll never get that fucking thing, man. Anyway, Napoli this season. They're on a bit of a roll. Yeah, we better get back to it. They've got 4 wins on the spin, all by 1 goal. Beat Cagliari 1-0 away from home in the last round. Then they have back-to-back 2-1 home wins against Torino and Lecce. And they beat Hellas Verona 2-1 away from home prior to that. They lost away to Atalanta and drew at home to Roma. They lost 3-0 away at Juve. They obviously lost to us earlier in the season. So they've proven that they're a little bit vulnerable, I would say, in the big games. And that they can drop points. They've got a trophy in the bag. They won the Supercoppa, of course, beating us 2-0 and then Bologna 2-0 in the final. They are out of the Coppa Italia, having lost in the quarterfinals to Como, who have a second leg coming up against Inter in the semi-finals. They're out of the Champions League, having finished 30th, which is a fucking disgrace, by the way. Champions of Italy 30th. That's Conte all over. And yeah, they've got 4 players missing for this game, according to Gazzetta, whom are David Neres, Di Lorenzo, who is 50-50, Rahmani and Vergara. So there you go. How are we feeling about this one?
We're going to absolutely smash them. That's how I feel. Okay? And here's my pitch. Okay? Now, if I had told you that let's say there's 3 games remaining, right? If you could pick three teams to play, would you pick for Milan to play Hellas, Cagliari, and Pisa, or would you pick them to play Napoli, Juve, and Atalanta? I personally would pick the latter. Give me the big teams, the ones we've actually had success against, and that's why we're going to smash Napoli today, or this week.
Well, that's crazy. I would definitely pick the relegation sides. I don't care if they are harder for us to beat. I think if the title was on the line, I think I would feel more comfortable.
I have I have confidence in them. I have confidence in our team playing to the level of the opposition. If big teams show up, we play with a crazy intensity, a crazy level of aggression, and we actually show up. And when small teams show up, we play right down to their level.
Yeah.
And when we do that, we're just as vulnerable as everybody else. If we play if we're not playing fast and aggressive and physical and all that stuff, which is what we often don't do against small teams, we're just not that good. Like, we're not that technical, we're not that talented. We have to play with that intensity. We hardly ever bring it against a small team.
But one of the interesting things about these 2 teams is they've both conceded the most penalties in Serie A this season. They both have conceded 8.
Wow,
nice.
Yeah. So
it'd be Rigorial and Napoli.
No, it's going to be no penalty at all because the refs need Inter to win, so no one's getting in.
It'll be 1 each.
There you go. Could be 1 each.
Also, Bdair,
whoever's winning in the end is going to concede 1.
Bdair, you picked out 3 of our last 8 games there against Napoli, Juve and Atalanta. We have
Well, I know.
also
I picked
Udinese,
some-
Verona, Sassuolo, Genoa, and Cagliari to play. So we'll drop
but
points in
no,
all
but
those.
The vibes of winning the big games will carry us
Yeah.
into the small games, or at least
We
that's
do
what I
have
believe myself to say.
we do have by far the best head-to-head record against the teams in the top 4, against the top 6, however you want to say it. We have been really good in these games this season. This, as I think I said last week, it gives me the feeling of that game in the Scudetto season where we went and won 1-0 there with
1-0,
Giroud putting that in. The circumstances are slightly different because I believe that was to hang on to top spot, whereas now obviously we're 6 points behind. And that's where I was going with the fixture article, looking at the difficulties and stuff like that. Obviously there's 24 points up for grabs. And let's say, as a bold estimate, let's say we win 6 of our 8 remaining games, which will be tough to do. But let's say we win 6 and we take 18 points, or maybe there's a draw in there, so we take 19 points out of 24. We're still relying on Inter taking only 13. And that is when you're like, oh shit, yeah, there's quite a big gap to make up here. Can it be done? Of course it can. The points are available, but we are still relying on a collapse. And that's where the results like the Parma one and the Lazio one recently are like, fuck, we're still nowhere near in pole position. In fact, Opta did their little stats machine and projected it, and whatever the percentage is, it's still, I think, 95% Inter to win the league, and that is
89.
kind of how it feels. Oh, okay.
So
are we? One of them's 95. Is it us top 4? It's like 95% or something. One of them is like, maybe so. Yeah.
The Bdair ball coefficient says that we're going to win 24 out of 24 points, and then all we will need is for Inter to only win 18 out of 24. So that's what will happen, and then we're going to go to the playoff, right? And then we're going to win the title there. So
that's another thing to actually factor in, is that playoff. We really need Inter to lose 3 games
to avoid the playoff.
Win. Yeah.
The
playoffs,
as it stands,
I don't think we win that. But
as it stands, if there was a 3-way tie at the top, we would play Napoli, which would be quite funny.
It would be hilarious.
Inter have led the league for like 30 rounds of the season.
Thank you for saying that. That's now my new hope. Imagine they lead the whole way and then they're not even in it at the end.
Yeah, that would be so good. Imagine trying to explain that down the line. How did that happen?
That's so. We have to. I'm sorry. That has to happen. That would be so good.
We have to chip together and make sure that happens. Look, it's still going to be difficult. And again, we spoke about that weekend where Inter played Atalanta at home, we played Lazio away. And I was like, if they drop points and we win, then it's like 50-50, this Scudetto battle. And of course, they did drop points, but then we went and lost at Lazio. And it kind of felt like the train had gone. Now we've been dangled a carrot again. And, let's see if Roma, because Roma are fighting for the top 4, they're going to go to San Siro, and dare I say that kind of plays into Inter's hands a bit, Roma having to go down and win, really. But we'll see. Let's see if they wobble again, and if they do, and we go and win at Napoli, it's so on. There's no two ways about it. If we gain more ground on them this round, it is so on. But I just don't see it happening. I can't see us winning there. I think Inter probably beat Roma to set the tone on Sunday night.
Probably.
And then we can't gain any ground. We play Monday night, yeah.
Looking at the fixtures, I think, if my math is correct, if we beat Napoli, Udinese, Verona, and then draw against Juve, that should clinch Champions League.
So, we're nearly there, but it's 9 points.
4 games away.
8 games to go. Yeah. So for all we're talking about, that last round was massive for us, because it went from like we're looking over our shoulders. The gap to 5th is less than the gap to top. Whereas now, with how results went in the last round, we are basically there. It would take a monumental collapse. And in a lot of the games, 4th play 5th or 5th play 6th or whatever. So
there might be a little caveat there. It might be the Verona game prior, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see. But Inter, Roma, Como, they're next 2. Tough on paper, If to drop points in both, then who knows? But for now, I'm not so sure.
Napoli got a tough run. Atalanta, Bologna, then us.
I don't think Juve get in the top 4. I really don't. And I think that's a big problem for them, given the amount they spent last summer.
I mean, Como's basically the only team of Como, Juve, and Roma that are playing at a level that looks like. And even I watch Como sometimes, and I'm like, they're not as impressive as they were earlier in the season, but
Mhm.
they're
Run out of
still
steam a
racking up
bit.
the wins. Yeah, they're still
They are like, if they get in the top 4 this time, knowing their ownership, and we'll see what happens with Fabregas, because if he goes, it's definitely destabilizing. But if they get in the top 4, it's going to add such an injection to their already mental project. Like, spent over 100 mil last summer, that I think they could just become. They're like, you're here now. You're one of the big 6. You're one of the big 7. Like, they could do it for years.
Yeah.
yeah.
If
They might
Roma,
also fall off.
They could be the new Atalanta, basically. Which I
Yeah.
wrote earlier in the season, like it feels like that. Like this feel watching them. It was the game against Torino where they won like 5-1 or 6-1 or something like that, and I was like, oh, like this feels like when Atalanta gate crashed the party, like where all of a sudden they were winning like these crazy score lines. And you were like, "Oh, this isn't a joke. Like, you have to actually take them seriously now. This is kind of crazy."
They beat Torino 11-1 over the 2 games
On aggregate,
season.
yeah, and
and like we needed to scrape past them twice, 3-2.
Right.
You know,
and that's where it's like when you start beating the teams that on paper you're supposed to be around, and you just start wiping the floor with them. You're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
Of
They
course,
have
there's
the
other
best
things that can
defense.
happen. Like
They had the
Yeah,
best
they do.
defense in the league and the second best attack. So they're
And
just
better
a
than us.
really
both.
good team.
Yeah.
Like
I think they're the best defense in Europe as well. Europe's
Yeah,
top
they
5
are.
leagues.
Yeah. Because it was us, but now they beat us by 1.
Yeah.
They could. Don't get me wrong. They could still kind of get torn apart this summer. You know, if Fabregas goes, Paz is probably going back to Real Madrid.
goes,
I'll imagine Batterino will have a market. I imagine some of the centre backs are going to have a market.
But there's no way
be
they
very
sell
solid.
those guys if they make Champions League, though. Not
Probably
Paz,
not.
yes,
They should stick
Paz, because they
around.
don't have a choice. But Baturina, I feel like there was a while where he just never played, and it was always like it felt like they were just keeping him as like a Paz, breaking place in case of emergency when Paz goes. And now he's just been so good that he's established himself as a starter. But you kind of forget, like, Paz goes, which would be a huge blow, obviously, but they can still play like Jesus Rodriguez, who's amazing, Baturina, and then like Assane Dia, who just came back and started scoring again. And it's like, damn, like that's a crazy talented, 3 as well.
I actually would like. I mean, I think Baturina's been better than Paz the last few weeks
since he became a starter. 100%.
Yeah,
which speaks to how amazing he's been.
Yeah, definitely. Good squad that they built there. A lot of names that you looked at on paper and thought, well, they're young, they're probably going to be inconsistent and stuff, but they've actually built a remarkable level of consistency. And we'll see what happens there. Looking at Napoli, Højlund top scorer with 10 goals, McTominay with 7. And then you've got Anguissa with 4, De Bruyne with 4. De Bruyne is back. Spinazzola with 3, Neres 3. Those 2 are not expected to play. Interesting team. Politano can be a bit of a thorn in our side. He has been in the past. He's got 5 assists this season. Do you know what? I'm going to be boring with my prediction. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, which doesn't help anybody.
No chance. Someone's going to win this game. They have to win it. I think both teams are aware of that. That's why I think it'll be an abnormal scoreline. I'm going 3-2, but I don't know who wins it.
Ooh.
Milan are going to win 2-1.
Okay.
We're going to win the league.
I do have a vision of Pulisic scoring.
Faith. Yeah,
I've got a vision of Pulisic scoring. I didn't pick us to lose. I said we draw. Of him scoring. Did you see You see in the press conference that he did for the USA where he did like a cover in his ears thing? I think Pulisic's going to score and do that.
I didn't see that. I don't.
Hold on,
I don't
I've got
watch
a picture
anything during international break.
I just thought it was weird. I mean, there's clearly still a bit of personality in there somewhere because I thought it was funny what he did. I can't find the picture.
Pulisic is an interesting character, I'd say.
Yeah. Right, so then let's do a couple of list of questions and wrap this up. This is a good one from Darren Torres. Are there any realistic players that we haven't been linked with that you think could do well for us? He likes Todibo as a centre-back, Myler as a wing-back, or Vanderson, Bernardo Silva, although we have now been linked with him, and 2 right. Anyone in there that you think I like Batterina. I'm going to throw that out there. But I just don't know where you play him.
I don't know how you sign
as
him
an
either. They signed him for like 20 million. It'll probably be like 50 million if you want.
Yeah.
But if we're going to level up, surely some of these we're going to have to start spending. Like, Nkunku and Yashari were the outliers in the summer because they cost north of 30 million. But all of our signings are going to have to be like that eventually. Otherwise, you're just taking punt after punt. And Batterina is like, he feels like as much of a guarantee as you could. Also, yeah, as I say, he plays like on the left of a front three, so he'd probably have to be Leao's replacement or whatever. So that's a difficult one.
The thing is, we don't even like. I can't even criticize this ownership for like the actual money spent. We do spend a lot in terms of just if you forget the sales, if you just like think about like here's what we actually spent. We spend a lot. We just spend it so badly that even the big expenditures end up being Jimenez and Nkunku. And so you're like, well, what was the point of spending 40 million if this is what I got? Like 40 million, like you said, is supposed to be a guarantee. I'm supposed to like this is a guy, and we failed from CDK to Nkunku to Jimenez to all these guys. Like, we just had a really really bad run of the big signings.
Well, our sweet spot has always tended to be 15 to 25. Like we built that core of players from Teo. Leao ended up costing a bit more because of the whole fine situation. Benacer, Kessie. Like that whole core of the Scudetto team was basically built with signings that cost between 15 and 25 million.
So what do we think is a realistic amount that this team would spend to get a top striker? Like, what do we think we're willing to spend?
They're going to have to spend 50.
I think if they had a guy where they were like, this is 1,000%, I think they would pay 50. If they've spent 40 before.
But who is it?
I don't know. I mean, Moise Kean but we've been linked with him. But Moise Kean is the one that feels like it makes the most sense. In terms of players we've not been linked with, I mean, I'm Modric has gotten me all the way in on the like give me all the old guys. So I'm down for Casemiro, dude. I'm really like
He's been linked.
Has he?
Yeah.
Was it
not by anyone?
I thought he was going to Miami. I saw him and Keylor Navas going to Miami.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, that makes too much sense.
If he doesn't do that,
Salah to San Diego. It's like,
oh my god, dude! If Salah, that's the one.
Really?
Dude,
I don't think Salah's ready for that step yet. I feel like he still thinks he can do another top club in Europe.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Come here. I'm saying Salah comes here.
Because Jamie Carragher, right? I know he's like fallen out with Salah and stuff, but he said something on the overlap where he was like, "I see him going to a top Italian club." I'm like, that's very specific. I
think the idea that he's not going to go to. I'm pretty confident he's not going to go Saudi. Like the stereotype is like, oh, Arab player goes Saudi. Only because I think he might end up there at some point in his career, but I just don't think mentally. The guy who throws a tantrum halfway through the season that he's getting benched, right?
Yeah,
he's not the guy who's mentally thinking I'm done.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
and I think more than like Ronaldo was kind of that way when he threw his tantrum at United, but he never wanted to sacrifice the money, right? Like if Ronaldo was willing to take 10% of what he earned, right, at United, if he was willing to take a huge pay cut, plenty of teams would have signed him.
Yeah.
But Salah strikes me as a guy who is willing to do it. He strikes me as a guy who's much more fuck you, and he'll just be like, screw it. I want to compete in the Champions League again. And I think if you watch the Galatasaray game, the second leg, dude, he still has so much left in the tank. I think he has a lot left in the tank.
Which team do you think he goes to? I mean, he's played in Italy before, Roma and Fiorentina. Obviously, that's a very different level.
Barca don't need him. Real Madrid don't need him. Definitely. So I think the top clubs in Spain
not those.
PSG don't need
PSG, not Bayern. He's gonna have to go to that like second tier, which is.
But I could see PSG doing it just because of name value, jersey sales, money.
Yeah,
like that's their ethos. They do that.
No, you can't.
Only if they make a sale.
Also, PSG will just play wingers down the middle, so they might just give him the centre forward spot.
But that's actually what I think his future is. Wherever he goes, I think his future is to kind of be like more of a centre forward, because he's. I mean, he for even at his prime, he played very centrally for a lot of it, like shading from the right,
forward,
and his hold up is amazing. Like physically, he's still like strong. he could definitely do a job.
I
Which is
could
why he's
see
going to join
Inter
Milan
doing
and
it,
playing
to
3-5.
be
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I mean, man.
Listen, I'm dead serious. Where I was like, I honestly believe if he came to Serie A, he's scoring like 24 of the goals.
We
Like, I
should
don't
absolutely
think
put it. I'll be so disappointed if we don't put a call in. You should absolutely ask what he wants.
Obviously, he's going to have to take a huge wage cut.
Yes.
If he's willing to, then by all means.
But he knows Serie A. He loved Serie A as well.
Right.
So it's
And
not
he's
like
the-
it'd be a
and-
completely new.
And it's a model of player that has worked for us.
Well, I don't think
Zlatan
he would
and
go
Modric
to Juventus either. I think, being in Serie A when he was at Roma and at Fiorentina, it was either you admire and you go straight to Juve, or you hate them with a passion, right? And he didn't go, so I think he just.
I don't
go
think
to
he'll
Juve.
care. I don't think he'll
Okay.
care because
No.
remember what? Well, remember
he'd
how
go
he
to
got
Inter.
to Roma in the first place.
Well, yeah,
Fiorentina
I was
loaned
saying
him
I'm not
in with
doing.
an option to buy.
Mm.
He balled out there. Fiorentina were like, "Yes, please, we're gonna buy you," and he
said,
was like,
"Nah, I'm
"Actually,
good."
no, fuck that. I got Roma. I got an offer from Roma. I'm gonna do that." And that was always like a
Which
thing.
is crazy. But yeah, I mean, so you're saying he comes to Milan? That's wonderful. Do you think he is then? Do you think we get rid of Leao or Pulisic? We bench one of them, or is it 4-3-3 and he plays down the middle, or Leao down the middle, or someone?
Leao goes. Pulisic swaps to left wing.
And Santi in the middle.
Though.
Whoever, we still sign a striker. We have to. I mean, Salah would be a free transfer, so while his wages would be big, I still think you can afford a striker. You have to. Because we get money from Leao, right?
Look, the Leao thing to me, I just don't see what the team is. I don't see what the team is that's going to give us the money that we think we're owed.
Yeah.
Like last year, I thought there were a lot of options. Like if you looked at it, like I could say
there was a lot of
I could say
movement.
Liverpool, Bayern, like and we never. I don't think he never pushed for a move, and I think we were always open, but we were never aggressive about it, right?
Yes.
And like, I don't see the team now, other than United. United's literally the only team where I can think like, okay, they don't have a manager because Arsenal's off the table because I don't think Arteta would ever want him as a press because of his pressing. Unless their sporting director Berta, he basically just signed Gyökeres by himself. Like Arteta did not want Gyökeres, and he signed. Unless it's kind of one of those situations where he kind of just like, this is my signing and I'm going to make it. I don't see that with Arsenal.
I feel like they're going to need a winger out the Arsenal, but I think it's not that. Like if Martinelli goes, if Trossard goes, as is said, then I think they're going to need someone a bit more on the technical side.
There's the Kvara links about that Kvara's camp is interested in Arsenal, which I honestly, as much it's not been like from a huge great source, but I honestly definitely believe Kvara does strike me as the guy who's like,
I'm gonna play everywhere.
And he's like striking while the iron's hot. Like he didn't give Napoli a second. As soon as Napoli wasn't good anymore, he was like, "I'm out. I don't care. I'm not doing this. I'm out." And
January just said,
right.
I won't even give you the rest of the season.
They were top of the league when he left. Like, I find it completely incomprehensible that Napoli fans don't have animosity towards him. He left while you were top of the league, and he was like, "Fuck
I'd
this,
be furious."
And you won the league by one point. You could have easily lost the league purely because of him. Like it's a miracle that McTominay carried them past that. I don't understand how they're fans of him right now.
Speaking of painful exits, JT Physio asks, if City actually get relegated, I'm not sure if you've seen the thing, but 60 points is the rumour. Right. It'll be appealed and appealed and appealed, even if it does get done. So this isn't happening.
It's never gonna
would you offer Reinders an outlet to come back?
No.
Imagine him on the right side of the midfield three.
I don't need him. He doesn't fit the system we want to play.
Look, he's talented enough where it's like, fuck it, fit him in. But he just the shit he said, like, man, there was just the way he left where I was like, the negotiation with City lasted like 1 week.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't even it wasn't like he was out of the door immediately as soon as the window had opened. And and he still felt the need to tell us about how much you can't pass up this City opportunity. I mean, this is the best. And I'm just like, dude, we're on the same page. We sold you, please,
It
was just
he gave an interview about he gave an interview about how the Premier League had always been his dream before he'd officially signed for City while he was with the Netherlands.
And that
felt like a kick in the balls.
You needed
to
take
wait.
This next step up. Yeah,
he said, I thank. He said, "I thank Milan for helping me get to a club like City." I'm just like,
I was
whoa,
like-
you've gone
Right,
a bit
'cause it's
over
like-
there.
Because it's like it's completely unnecessary. You were getting sold. This is not one of those situations where you needed to force out a move. Just shut the hell up. That was
Yeah,
I was
so-
just like, why? Like it was just so weird.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone would get mad if he just didn't say anything and just
Yeah.
was like, yeah, City is a top club. I've really admired Pep as a coach, and I'm excited to be
Nobody
here.
begrudged him for
Alright,
the
yeah.
move. If
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
we were mad
Dimension
at the
was-
club. We were mad at the club, right?
Yeah.
And then he starts saying this shit, and I'm just like, well, fuck him. Like the hell?
And then he hasn't even been that good there. So
And he
No, he
signed the
hasn't much.
contract. The contract thing. He signed the contract 6 months ago, and everybody, both the club and him, acted like Manchester City's interest in him like came out the fucking sky.
yeah.
Like apparently they hadn't been watching football for 6 months until he signed the contract. Then they're like, oh, look at that guy.
You're right as well. It was like the first report of like I think it was the Athletic or City are seriously interested in Reinders, and then within I think 48 hours it was
Yeah,
the
it was
bids
done.
are going up and up, and then it was done. Yeah, it's done. So there you go. Final one, Wine Branch. Have we changed anything in regards to how we operate with transfers? In a short period of time, the attempt with signing Andre from Corinthians, there was that where the president wasn't in the loop. He vetoed it, and now we've walked away from it. I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with that, but that was hilarious. The whole thing, very funny. Then you've got Andrej Kostic, who has come from Partizan Belgrade, but their vice president has come out and said, I had no idea that this was going on. You've sold him for a paltry sum. I'm calling a meeting of the board. I'm calling a meeting of the board of directors to discuss if this is how they want to do transfers moving forward. And then the Partizan board have put out a statement saying that's over the top. Let's calm down and sit together. So basically, are we tapping these players up, and that's why clubs are getting annoyed, or do you think we're just dealing with clubs that are a little bit less professional?
It's both.
It's
both.
We're probably also doing the intermediary thing.
Yeah.
All that.
Well, Ferlani knows the agent of Andre. Like, he was pictured at Casa Milan.
Right.
So that's definitely being used in some way to try and get some leverage, I think. And then Kostic's agent is Darko Ristic, who he's a Serbian agent, looks after Vlahovic as well. So, of course, the rumours about him have fired back up again. But I think he, too, has had some question marks about his conduct in terms of getting clients in and out of clubs.
But I'm so confused. Like, how can these... Like, somebody has to put the signature on the paper, right? Who the hell who's doing it? If all these people are surprised, I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, the Andre thing is really bizarre because we had it all agreed, and apparently ESPN Brazil said that all of the paperwork was signed by the legal department at Corinthians. So as far as the clubs were concerned, it was done. And then there was a big backlash because the fans didn't want him sold. The president, whose popularity is declining as it is, had to step in and basically not put his final signature on the thing. So we talked about going to FIFA to appeal it because we thought we had the documents in hand. And then there was like a period of standoff. Then ESPN said we'd gone in with a higher offer, and Milan News of today said, no, we never did that. We've actually walked away because we're pissed off with how the whole thing has been handled. And he's apparently going to Benfica or Atletico Madrid. So watch him go there and do amazing. That's how it'll work. And he's been shit for us.
I got a Corinthians jersey this weekend, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
That's
just
nice.
random. Yeah.
Yeah. They've had some nice ones, to be fair.
It was.
Maybe they had an anniversary one where it was like all sand coloured, and there was like a bit of a map on it or something.
Yeah, it's just regular home. But
cool. Right.
Okay,
we'll wrap it up there. Been a pleasure, everybody. We're back later in the week with another bonus podcast episode, which I think at the moment will be a bit about the signing of Kostic, but also some of the other young talents that we've recruited. We've actually spent close to 40 mil on players 21 and under. Yeah, you could call that if you want. So just about the youth movement there. And we're back with a review of the Napoli game early next week. And in the meantime, have a fantastic week, everyone.